Ah, so in those days, a long time before groups, when parents just were coming to me for advice, I had a lot less rules. And I helped parents with kids who were in the beginning stages as well. So this kid was ready, we realized was in big trouble, and was not a regular chinuch issue, was some kind of a trauma, deep pain, chil Shabbos, and he was still going to shul with his father, but he was, not wanting to go and not being comfortable and leaving and all of that. And he asked his father before they came to me for a few weeks, I don't want to wear this hat, I don't want to wear the hat, I don't want to wear the hat. And the father kept on saying, no, please, very important to me. And he was trying to control the kid from falling apart, nabuch, like we all do, because he didn't know what else to do. And then he came to me, and I told him, listen, your son is going to take off his hat. He's going to go to shul. It was actually for Yontif. It was a shulas. I said, and here's what I want you to do. Okay? I want you to take off your hat in solidarity, and I want you to leave your hat home and go to shul with him, without his hat, without your hat. I think that's when we were machadish the word twisted parenting. Really, it was meshuga parenting, like out of your mind, you're nuts. I want to explain to you where I was coming from. This kid feels now different than his father. He feels that this black hat, which we know is meaningless, really, as in the scheme of things, okay, it's an extra compared to chil Shabbos, which he's engaged in, and that is going to be like, I am different than the family. Because I can't do this thing, and therefore, I'm an oisvarf. And he's going to go to shul, and everybody's going to look at him, and everybody's going to look at you, and this is my son, the bum. Unfortunately, that's the feeling. Everyone on their level. For one family, it's the hat. For one family, they cut off the payas. For one family, when the kid put on jeans. For everyone on their level, where there's a split. The kid is not behaving like everybody else, and everybody's realizing, right? Or they fapitz the beard, and all of a sudden the beard is like missing, So, I want you to protect his self-esteem. I want you to be shomer on his self-esteem. And take the bullet for him. Right? Like an eagle that protects its child. And I want you to also show him, we're not different. We're not different. You think this is important? You think this hat is important? No. Now, everyone's going to say, so if you took off a yarmulke, you should wear a yarmulke? No, that's not important. Why? I'll explain it to you. But anyway, I told him to do that. And he was like sitting, how can I do that? How can I come to shul without a hat? What are people going to say? And Lamaisa, he did it. He gave a message to his son, right? That this is not important to you. It's okay. That's not what it's all about. And he put his arm around him and he was there for him. He was there for him. And why do we do this? Because it's a symbol. It's a symbol that says, you know what? That's not the most important thing. You're the most important thing. You're the most important thing. The Maisa Lubavitcher Rebbe, famous story, that he didn't get the straddle, the spadik, whatever it's called. What do you guys call it? To become Rebbe, you have to put on the spadik. Spadik, you call it spadik, right? Okay. And so he took his hat, and he, I don't need this spadik. Right? That's not what's important. I can daven without. I can be a Rebbe without that. And this was his message to his son. And really, it was a much bigger message than the hat. It was letting him know, you're not disconnecting from me. I'm not letting go of you. I'm willing to go down from my madrigas for you, and I'm willing to be embarrassed for you. Yeah. And then when I walked in and everybody looked at him, good. So they think, okay, they're both meshuga, but at least they take rachmanis on their son. And you know what? There's a famous story of a very, very big tzaddik, Rav Spitzer in Barabach. What's his name? He was this, Rav Chaim Spitzer. You know the story? Rav Chaim Spitzer, I don't want to get into the details, but it's written down in the book. It's written down. And he had a son, and this son went through a hard time, whatever it was, and it came Erev Rosh Hashanah, he's supposed to take a haircut, and he told the son, you have to take a haircut. He said, I don't want to take a haircut. He just got nervous or something. He said, I don't want to take a haircut Erev Rosh Hashanah. That night in shul, you know what the son noticed? His father didn't take a haircut. Mavatal Laveri, it says brought down to take a haircut Erev Rosh Hashanah. I'm sure there's reasons, I'll be Kabula. I'm sure that's an important thing, right? And this was Rav Chaim Spitzer was big tzaddik. So they asked him, why didn't somebody went over to him, why didn't you take a haircut? If I would take a haircut, my son would walk in without a haircut, so he's a meshugana, he's an oisvarf. If I didn't take a haircut and he didn't take a haircut, so maybe we were busy with something, right? They're going to be dan milakavskos, and so together we were busy. He sheltered him. He moved in front of his kid. Isn't that beautiful? We have parents that do that the girl walks in not sneezed because it's the only way that she's going to come. And the mothers will walk in front, hold the kid, and will give eyes to people like, I have a pikuach nefesh situation here, keep your face out of my kid. It happens all the time, we do that. Don't look, just back off. Because people don't know if your kid's life is in danger, that they're suicidal. There's a boy in ARTSCROLL, we all know the story, that he came to a simcha, not dressed properly, and someone said, "Di belongs nishdu, you don't belong here." 10 minutes later, he hung himself. Dead. We have the picture. It's mamish horrible. That guy didn't mean to kill him. People don't mean to kill you, but ba'abam harguish. It's dangerous, right? So I was showing the father that your first message as your son goes public is, I am with you. The kid doesn't need you to take over your young. It doesn't need you to eat trade. That's not what he needs. But this was a statement that I'm going to hold your hand. So why do we do these things? Because today, that boy is not only clean off drugs without rehab, from off that without Aisha Torah, he's completely from, healthy, functioning, and so normal looking. And I have no doubt that now, tonight he got engaged to a normal Beisako from Edel, a girl that any one of us would be proud to have in the family. I'm sure a beautiful shidduch. And I am sure that by his chassan and by the chuppah, he will have a hat on his head. I don't have a doubt. I don't have a doubt. Let me tell you a fascinating story. We had a family over here, listen to this story, that their kid got married, got engaged, TP got engaged. And the boy was not holding by wearing a hat. And the parents, who afterwards, because they were close to the kid, you're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you, I'm being sarcastic, they found out what they didn't know for 20 years, that the kid was molested in yeshiva by actually a member of the Amhala, which they never would have known if not for TP, for years that they were mamish at his side, and one day, before his chasana, he told his parents, which they never knew, why did he unravel, and why did he go so cuckoo, and to do such averus and all of that, and because they believed in him, they found out the truth. Now listen to this story. The father came to me before the chasana, urgent meeting, me and my wife, we must meet you. It's a couple of days before the wedding. So what's the problem? There could be so many problems. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to be the problem? The wedding is in a from chasana hall, Tiferes Rivka, Yelav V'Yalda, right? Baruch Hashem, like all of our weddings that so far, B'li Hara, we're not on beaches, we're not Tegoyim, we're Kedas Moshe Yisrael, Evi Kedushin, regular chasana halls. I've been by them. It's unbelievable. Baruch Hashem, the Eibshter is a weiter helfer, that all of you should have that same miracle. Amen. So he calls me a couple days before, we got to meet you. He says, I'm thinking like this. This is my son's big day. It's his chasana. It's all about him. He's walking down the aisle with a tati wearing a hat, with a mechutin wearing a hat, with a brother wearing, everybody in the whole place is wearing a hat besides him. And he grew up by us, and he's going to feel inferior. He's going to feel like the Moderna. Everybody's going to look and they're going to take a picture. The modern one of the family. Why on his wedding night should he feel inferior? Here's my question for you, Avi. This is what he tells me. I want me and all of my family to come without hats. So he should feel comfortable at the wedding. What a question! What a question! Look how the parents, forget about what the answer is, but how do you get parents to be so in tune? Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that mamish beautiful? So Torah-dik, so beautiful, so in tune to the feelings of another Yid, of their child who went through Gehenna, got ripped away from life, was suicidal, and all the whole Echil Shabbos, and then because they did TP, even though everybody says, oh, it's so crazy, so radical, how could you? Yeah, but then that's why we know what happened to him. He was able to tell his parents that I was molested by this and this person, Nebuch. Otherwise it would have been forever. And because of that, he's doing great, but he's not he's walking with a limp. Now think about it. You know what people do when they love someone who has cancer and the chemo causes them to lose their hair? You know what they do in the Welt?
Shave their heads.
They shave their heads. Solidarity. So we want to take, what do I need a hat for? Walking down a chuppah, you have to have a hat? Right? Why should we do something and make him feel inferior? Even, I'm thinking, what godless of parents to be so sensitive to Yenim's feelings. So sensitive to Yenim's feelings that was his Einfall. They called up Chaim Kanievsky. Chaim gave a bracha and said that, no, you can wear your hats. On the way to the wedding, the boy said, I want to wear a hat to my chuppah. They went to Ben Grift, Zatzal, before it burned down, which is a few blocks away from the wedding. On the way to the wedding, they walk in. Do you have a hat for him? The guy says, oh, very nice. What's it for? He goes, my wedding. Great. When is it? In a half hour. The boy put on a hat, walked down the chuppah, under the chuppah, wore that black hat. A moifis? Wow. I think that the ratzon of the father, that I don't want my kid to feel inferior, and I'm willing to lose out. Piled ice, that Reb Chaim was able to make a Yeshua, a miracle, for this little thing. I know it's not life and death. People like bigger stories, but for our little world, this was nice. This is like, if you're willing to lose out for Nachayid, you can get some kind of a schar, you can get some kind of a siyata d'shmaya. It worked out. Chaim said, you don't have to buy a hat. Wow. He put it on. The point is that when we try to make them feel comfortable as they are, and we're willing to make ourselves uncomfortable, they will want to be like us. That's the point. It's that hergish, that feeling that this is what you want. And that's why the Nesiv Shalom says that when you see your child acting badly, what should you do? Muchrachim lishloit alayelad, he doesn't say. Muchrachim lishloit beruach, get a hold of yourself. Ula'ir elav ahava v'chemla b'li gvul. Awaken to this kid love and mercy without any limit. Even more than you had from him until now. And you don't need the kid for that. You have to open your hergish, right? I remember that you told me one Shabbos afternoon, your kid was in LA, it was Shabbos by you, and you felt something, he's not right, he's not good. And Taka came out that at that time, that's nafshik shura b'nafshay. And when you feel the nafshik shura b'nafshay, you feel your kid's tzar, and you're so sensitive to them, that causes them to have the koyach, to step up and want to be like us. So the reason why I wanted this guy going back many years ago, to take off your hat, be yored mi madrigoisav, take away some of this stuff right now that is causing a richuk, it's causing a difference. He's going to go home and say, I'm different than my family. They all wear hats, I don't want that. We can't do everything, we have limits, but as much as we can do, I want to take away the separations. I want to say nothing separates us. We are one. Like we all heard the beautiful hesped. I'm sending it around tonight actually. You'll hear it by tomorrow. The hesped from Ben Brafman.
Yeah.
It's going to be, you heard it?
Yeah.
So I have an introduction. You'll play it to your siblings, something unbelievable. We are together, we are one, you're no different. I love you, I like you. Ishteltsu, to make them comfortable as much as humanly possible. And then as Hashem, they're going to want to be like us. That's when you get the miracle.